In parliamentary, the Prime Minister as the head of the Parliament, the lawmaking body is also the head of the Cabinet, the executive. The Parliament, being the lawmaking body in the parliamentary, is the counterpart of the Congress and Presidential, the upper house and the lower house. While there is also House of Lords and House of Commons in the Parliament. In parliamentary, the branches of government are fused, and there is no separation of powers. The three branches of government are fused in parliamentary system. There is no separation of powers, and there is no check and balances. That's why in presidential, the three branches of government have their own function, and they are independent of each other, while in parliamentary, the ultimate power vested in the lawmaking body called Parliament, and its head is the Prime Minister, who is also the head of the cabinet, the executive. The unique feature of parliamentary is the power of the lawmaking body to dissolve the ruling party of the Prime Minister by means of vote of no confidence, through which can dissolve the parliament to hold another election of the Prime Minister in the new election by the Parliament by means of the party support rather than the majority vote of the people. Strictly speaking, there is no executive branch. In another sense, there is no legislative branch for each one is the part and parcel of the other. The Cabinet leads Parliament in lawmaking, and the Parliament controls the Cabinet executive functions. Because of the fusion of powers, the Parliament becomes the supreme organ of government. It is because the ultimate seat of governmental powers. Even if the cabinet headed by the Prime Minister directs legislation and controls administration, it does not so as the instrument of Parliament. The reason lies in the fact that no motive how powerful the cabinet or ministry has come to be according to the authority. It remains that Parliament is ultimately supreme and legally omnipotent in all matters of government. While there is separation of power in the presidential, or the executive, legislative, and judiciary are separate, then there is check and balances of the three branches of government. The executive and the legislative and parliamentary are fused in parliamentary form of government. And another most important unique feature of parliamentary government is the existence of two executives. One of these executives is the titular head of the state, who is called monarch or king or queen, who acquires his or her title by hereditary succession, as in the case of the United Kingdom, or president to acquire his office by direct or indirect vote of the electorate. The other is the royal head of the government called Prime Minister or Premier, who acquires his positions for being the leader of the majority party and for having been elected by his colleagues in the Parliament. The Prime Minister exercises royal powers of government, while the monarch or the queen, king or queen, exercises ceremonial powers like the late Queen Elizabeth II, which is the hereditary ceremonial head of the state of the United Kingdom. Hence, the vote of no confidence is another insignia of parliamentary government. No such practice exists in presidential government for any reason, but usually because of maladministration. Once parliament members lost their confidence with the cabinet, the executive committee or leader of the party in power, they may issue vote of no confidence anytime against it. And if such no confidence vote has been issued, the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the cabinet, has two choices: either he resign voluntarily or to dissolve the parliament. But these two alternatives of the Prime Minister are not so easy matters as pictured out. The Prime Minister is responsible leader. He being the real chief executive, he does not just resign voluntarily or dissolve parliament immediately after he is given vote of no confidence. The Prime Minister first assesses the entire political situation. If it is clear the public opinion is against his public policies and actions, then he resigns voluntarily. For even if he will dissolve the parliament and submit himself to the electorate for judgment in a general election, he and his political party would be defeated. But if public opinion is so divided that there is doubt as to which political party has trust and confidence of the people, the party in power or the opposition party Then the Prime Minister decides to serve the Parliament and appeal to the people for judgment in a general election. Advantages of the parliamentary government. In contrast to the presidential system of government, the following are the advantages of parliamentary government. Number one, there is unity and facility of the adoption and execution of public policies due to the fusion of governmental powers. Number two, the existence of a nonpartisan head of state which serves as the unifying factor in society in times of stresses and strains, especially during the brief interval between the resignation of the Prime Minister and his ministry and the installation of another. The participation and leadership of ministers in the process of lawmaking provides the other members of Parliament the needed informations regarding the social conditions of the country, which informations are important in the adoption of appropriate solutions to the social problems. Number 4. The dissolution of Parliament that is brought about by the vote of no confidence issued by members of the legislatures against the entire ministry makes parliamentary government responsive to the will of the people. Because it is they, the people, who ultimately decide public policies in a general election, which the government leaders, executive and legislative, could not settle by themselves, and whoever wins the result of the general election is then upheld by the people to run the affairs of the government. Disadvantages of parliamentary government. Range against the above advantages are the following disadvantages of parliamentary government. Number 1. The fusion of executive and legislative powers in one branch of the government called parliament could be a fertile ground for the emergence of despotic government. This apprehension is borne out by Montesquieu's theoretical formulation that individual freedom would come to naught if executive and legislature or legislative powers are united in the hands of one man or in the same body of magistrates. Number 2. The existence of two executives, one performing only ceremonial function, is an economic burden on the part of the taxpayers. Number 3. The dominance of the ministry members in legislation accorded in them by the requirement that bills of general concern except those of local applications would only be introduced in Parliament with the approval of the Cabinet deprives the other representatives of the people the right of opportunity to sponsor bills, which might bring more concrete solutions to social problems than those piloted by the ministry members. Number 4. Principle of collective responsibility to Parliament might lead to government instability due to frequent dissolutions of Parliament, especially so when there is no single political party that commands a solid majority in Parliament, so that every now and then votes of no confidence are passed that precipitate the rise and fall of cabinets one after another. And the following are the summary for requisite conditions to sound operations of parliamentary government. Number 1, compact territory. Number 2, oneness of the people. Number 3, two-party systems. And number 4 is the issue-oriented electorate. Please watch and view also other videos of philosophy, political science, economics, ethics, religion, etc. from my variety of blogs of life, environment, music, and travel. In life, we are going to enjoy at the same time to discover the path of life and variety of mode, situation, challenges, exploration, to enjoy at the same time to face challenges, to struggle, and to enjoy the harmony of music and principles in life, running in science, arts, full of mysteries. Now let's appreciate changes while looking for the arts of poetry, songs, and nature's masterpiece in life that I may share to you through my original Filipino music, my original composition, and all other things that I can share to you from my knowledge of learning. And since learning is a continuous process. And please don't forget to view, subscribe, click the notification bell, like, and share. Thank you.